Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Harry Talks. Today I'm joined by Nathan Gray, a brilliant runner based in Cumbria, who in the last few months, without races or anything to kind of target, has pushed on and got faster and faster. So yeah, I'm interested to learn as much as I can from Nathan today about his training, about his diet, and about his kind of goals for the future. So yeah, Nathan, if you'd just like to introduce yourself, what's your age, what's your kind of main race distance, and what you kind of targeting in the future, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah, like I said, my name's Nathan Gray. I'm based in Cumbria. I've just turned 21, and I do anything really from the shorter track stuff like 800s, 1500s, all the way up to 5K, 10K sort of distances.
Brilliant. Why have you picked kind of the short distances? Do you just enjoy speed more than kind of like halves and marathons, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think, like you say, just that shorter, sharper stuff. I just think I seem to enjoy it a little bit more than, yeah, like you said, half marathons, and that's just not as much for me, I don't think.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I see you did do a half, didn't you? You did the Great North Run at one point, or maybe a
Yeah,
few you've done.
yeah, I've done the Cumbrian Run once and the Great North once as well.
What was that? 73 minutes as well for the Great North, something like that.
So, not like that. It was a lot slower than
Oh,
that. It's
really?
like I think Great North was 122 and Cumbrian Run was like 128 when I first started.
What do you reckon you do now? Because obviously you don't focus on it, but if you did a half now,
Um, so no, I'd like to go like 71 or something maybe.
yeah, it'd be interesting to see. But at the minute, you're not really kind of thinking of targeting any halves anytime soon, no.
No, I'd say it'd be another few years or something before I give one a proper go.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, obviously, it's hard as a runner to kind of, specialize in every distance. Like, I love 5Ks, but I also love halves, but I can't really train for both, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So yeah, 5K, would you say that's the main one, or if you had to pick one,
yeah.
maybe?
Like I said, it's I sort of do quite a mix of sort of 15, 3K, 5K. I sort of tried to balance them because something like a 3K and a 5K, there's not too much difference between them. But
Yeah.
this,
And I'm assuming like a lot of the training, obviously, you're going to be doing like intervals, like shorter stuff. So,
yeah,
you can kind of train for 3K, 1.5 and 5K all at the same time kind of thing, just because they're kind of close together.
yeah, exactly. That's it.
So what's your PB at the minute then for 5K?
Um, like officially at the minute, it's 15:23 around that mid Cheshire. But I done a time trial a couple of weeks ago with a couple of other lads around 14:43 then.
That's just mental. Yeah. Was that Paul pacing you on a bike or something?
Yeah, Paul jumped in for 2 miles, and then Mark done 10K at the same sort of pace, ran something mental like 30 and 31 or something, 30 and a half, I think it was.
Yeah, it's mad. Like you've got a good little group there, to be fair. You've got like you, Mark, Paul, the other Nathan. Who else have you got that's kind of working there?
There's plenty from like Border as well. Like there's a few sort of James Douglas, do you know him?
Yeah, he was my teacher at school, yeah.
I he's still he's still quality at the minute. Like I said, there's three or four others in Border that jump in with us a lot as well. So
Yeah.
it's ideal, really.
Is James like similar to Mark in terms of speed, or one of them?
I'd probably say Mark's sort of got the quicker PBs, but
Right.
like I know they've done a cross country like last year and they were pretty close then, but I'd say Mark's just got the edge on him. Like, but
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. So in terms of training at the minute, would you say do you just do what you want to do, or do you follow a coach, or how does it work?
no, I've got a coach who's helps us run like Border, if you know what I mean. Like he does all the younger lot of Border as well. He
Yeah.
coaches both me and the other Nathan as well now.
Right, I thought, yeah, because I spoke to Nathan recently and he said obviously he's got a coach as well. So, yeah, that's pretty good. And in terms of like days off, is it like a certain day each week, or does it just depend when you kind of, you know, feeling it, or how does it work?
It's pretty much like Friday, pretty much every week. Sometimes I won't have a rest day and I'll just add another easy run in, but like obviously just being really sensible about it. The only other times I'll have a rest day on a different day is if I've got like a race or something. So I'll have a rest 2 days before, then obviously run easy the day before the race, and
Yeah.
then race the next day.
Yeah, I get the impression like you guys are all pretty kind of sensible if you're training, like you know when to rest, you know when to kind of pull it back a bit, like something that I'm not very good at myself. Like obviously I'll just do whatever really, although I have got a coach recently, but yeah, so like obviously for injury prevention it's great and for getting quicker and faster, you guys seem to be doing the right thing.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Like,
What about diet? Are you bothered about diet? Do you look into it much or do you just kind of eat what you want?
I don't know. It was never really something I was too fussed about.
Mm,
But the last sort of 6 months or so, I think when I started realizing I was improving quite quickly again.
mm,
Um, I thought that it was one of them things that could improve. Like it wasn't bad. I just thought it probably could improve. So I've started working with like sort of alongside a lad I know now, just for like basic guidance, just to make sure like I'm eating the right stuff and the right amount, sort of, and even just simple stuff like eating like the right amount of calories for me and stuff like that. And I can sort of notice definitely a different with it. Like,
yeah. What did you say? Working with, was that a person you said or?
yeah, he's someone I sort of knew growing up. I used to like play football with him when I was younger and that, but he's just finished his masters in like a sports nutrition thing. So
Ah,
he just offered to give us like a bit of help. It's like I say, it's not serious, but it's just
mm.
like guidance to follow.
No, that sounds good. Yeah. So on a typical kind of day, what you kind of having breakfast, lunch, dinner? I know it'll change every day, but what's like an example?
Just like I said, it's pretty simple stuff. Something like porridge or Weetabix, or even just like brown toast or something at dinner, breakfast, not dinner.
Dinner.
Um, and then at dinner time again, just something like chicken and rice sort of thing. Omelets are always good. Like I try and eat like plenty of eggs, and obviously, especially after sessions and that, just because it's an easy way of getting protein back on, isn't it? But
Yeah, definitely.
like I say, dinner changes pretty much every day. But again, nothing's like ridiculously healthy. I just make sure I get plenty of fruit and veg in when I can, and
Yeah.
just not like I'm quite a big believer in the whole just. Obviously, a lot of people just cut out all the bad stuff and like say, "Oh, I won't eat pizza, I won't eat any chocolate and all this." But
Mhm.
I think it's all good in its own way, if you know what I mean.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. Like I'm definitely not afraid to like treat myself with like pizza or whatever. But I understand like it's probably not best to have it like every single day. But in the long term, if you like treat yourself every few days or whatever, or even every day, it's probably better because you're not gonna like massively binge or whatever.
Exactly.
And obviously, as a runner, especially, the short the distance, weight kind of comes into play more because you're literally trying to get, those little advantages to get speed. So I'm assuming in your mind, are you trying to be kind of as light as possible? Is that the kind of aim or?
I think I was quite sort of hooked on that idea maybe a year or two ago.
Mm,
Like I say, when I first started running like low 16s and that for 5K, I was like, I don't know, that was when I stopped sort of eating as much. Like I was still eating, but just thought like I need to be light and that. But like I say, now I'm probably eating more than I ever have. Just obviously like
yeah,
quality rather than quantity and that sort of thing.
that's the thing. Yeah. So going forward, do you set yourself targets for each distance? Like, do you want to hit a certain time for like 5K, for example, or do you just want to push it?
It's one of them. Like obviously, I've still now got to think when races are back on. I need to try and do what I've done in that time trial, but in an actual race, and
Mm,
obviously make that official. But a big thing for me, sort of at the minute, is the track stuff. So like 1500, I want to go under 4 minutes for that because I had a bit of a stinker at track season last year.
oh, really?
Just not like really bad. I just kept like I think I was in better shape than what I ended up running.
Right.
Um, and obviously now since I've sort of improved a bit more recently, again I think it could do with being reviewed and trying to beat
Mm.
my coach PB more to the point because he's got 1 second on us on a 1500.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, he doesn't let me live down. So
Yeah, I've never really done track myself. Like I've done it a couple of times for like a session with uni or whatever, but I've never like competed on the track. Would you say it's a big difference to kind of, doing a 3K on the road, for example, or 5K on the road?
uh, it's yeah, I sort of find it quite like completely different
Hmm.
tactics in if you know what I mean. Like I've only ever done one 5K on the track, but it's you've got to think if every 400 meters on a road knew roughly like what your time was, and if you're on pace and that, it sort of makes a difference, doesn't it? Because obviously you come past the clock every single lap you do, don't you?
That's true. Yeah, that's true. And does it like make a difference when you kind of? I'm assuming when you do 5K in the track, you're going to be doing it with like very good runners basically at your kind of level. Does that kind of come into play as well more than it would on like the road, or because you're more spaced out on the road, or not?
Yeah, it's like most of the track races we do. I think the best sort of ones, just like open meets at Stretford at Manchester.
Yeah.
So like obviously the quality throughout the UK when everyone's travelling to there, the competition is a lot better there. So obviously it's worth us travelling, say 2 hours or so to go to Manchester to have them races against people of a higher quality because it's always going to pull you on, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah, definitely. Whenever I do a race, if there's runners about your time, it always helps just kind of push you on a little bit. I don't really know why it does that, but it always seems to happen anyway. But yeah, in terms of like strength conditioning and kind of recovery, what's your kind of routine? Do you do much strength conditioning? Do you do much recovery work or?
I do like maybe one strength and conditioning and one sort of core session a week.
Yeah.
Tend to do them on different days. My strength and conditioning's sort of based around injuries or like niggles that I've had. So like I've had quite a lot of bother with my sort of like calf, Achilles sort of area. So I've been to see different people with it and just sort of got like a plan built around that, trying to obviously strengthen them areas, stop it happening again. So it's just simple stuff like that. And then like most of it's body weight, so it's all simple enough to do.
So with the calf one, what actually is that? Is that just like shooting pains when you're running, or is it pulled muscle kind of thing, or?
Well, it was first like you say, my calves were all. I had quite a lot of bother with my calves being tight, and then was it start of this year, January or something? I started having like a niggle right in my like the back of my Achilles.
Yeah.
And I went to see like a couple of different physios about that. And then when I went down to Manchester to see one, he basically said it was what the other guy went to see had said. He just give us a bit more specific exercises because he was a bit more like he was a good runner himself, so I think he understands a bit more. If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I say, he just give us exercises, told us to build the weight up gradually, just simple stuff to do in the gym, and he said it should sort of take care of itself. And I haven't had any bother with it since Touchwood, like, but
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and obviously, yeah, I agree. Like, if you go to see like a doctor or whatever, it does help. But if you see someone that's kind of specialized, like has a running history or like knows what they're doing, it's definitely a lot more kind of useful. Didn't you have an injury at the start of this year before you came back, or was that?
yeah, that's the one.
That's the one. Yeah.
Started this year. Yeah, it was one of them. It's my first proper injury, I'd say. I've had a few like niggles that I've kept you out for like a week, 10 days maybe. But that had us out for like I think it was 3 months or something maybe. Missed some races that I was like really keen on doing, but obviously I think in the long run the rest has done us a world of good, to be honest.
Yeah, I know we spoke about that briefly. Like you said, like when you came back, obviously the times you're doing now are the best you've ever done. So, injuries aren't great, obviously, but I guess it is a time for your body to kind of rest up and potentially strengthen up for when you come back. So I guess that's what it did in your case.
But yeah, it just gives you, like you say, that time that you need, doesn't it? I think obviously as runners we're sort of scared to rest for too long, aren't we? Unless we start thinking of backwards. So I think when something like that does happen, it's good in a sense in some ways.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. So are you similar in terms of recovery? Like, do you do much like firm rolling or stretching or any kind of weird thing? Anything?
I do, like I say, I do the odd bits of foam rolling. I don't smash it. Maybe do it once a week at a push. And then stretching, similar thing. Just maybe once a week or so. Maybe like on a Wednesday after my easy run or something. Just if I'm feeling tight in a few spots, just do a few stretches to sort of loosen up a bit. Obviously.
Yeah, nothing crazy there or anything. Just simple stuff.
No,
Yeah.
Like I said, just pretty basic stretches. No mental.
Yeah, I get the impression like you keep things pretty simple, but like obviously productive to your running kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. I just think it's something you don't really need to overcomplicate massively. Yeah? You just stick to a certain structure and it works for you then.
Yeah. A lot of people probably kind of overthink the training, like, the different shoes, the different, nutrition. Ultimately, if you get out and run and do the intervals or whatever, you're probably going to improve, right? So
That's it, isn't it? It's one of them. Like obviously, you get a lot of people sort of caught up on hitting certain weekly mileages or certain paces, even for like the easier sort of runs. And I think that's when obviously you start looking at getting injured, isn't it?
yeah, definitely, definitely. If you were to give kind of two main tips for a beginner runner, someone that's maybe doing 5K when they start 30 to 40 to 50 minutes, what would it kind of be? Two main tips.
Like I say, go for some sort of structure at first. Try and keep like get a decent mixing of as much as you can. So obviously, times where you're working harder, times where you're going to be going for a bit longer, sorry, but not necessarily as quick.
Yeah.
Once you've sort of started getting structure, like you don't need to be running 6, 7 times a week to improve. It's just being sensible. And probably another one is just, like I say, just being sensible. Stuff like easy runs, it's something that you see all the time. It's some people running an easy pace that's just like not easy for them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think if you can get that down to a T and start recovering better, I think it can make a huge difference. Like,
yeah, like you often see people like call the runs easy on Strava, and then you look at the heart rate or whatever, and it's like 180 to 190 or something. But yeah, I mean, I can't really talk myself, but yeah, it's a common issue. It's easy to get carried away, if you're basically enjoying running or you're running with music or whatever it might be. But yeah, just to finish with, I kind of finished with this on most of them. Do you have a certain quote that you use a lot or think about?
certain quote.
Yeah, like I don't know, an inspirational quote you use or anything like that.
No, I don't honestly think I do. I used to. I don't know. It's one of them, isn't it? It's something I've never really thought about that actually.
Yeah, that's fair
No.
enough.
Do you have one, Mike?
Um, I don't know, just like the kind of generic, like don't give up, them kind of ones, like don't.
Just
You what? Sorry.
just like simple but effective.
Yeah, basically, like nothing like special or anything. Just the kind of keep going kind of quote. So ones like that, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but anyway, thanks for coming on. Hopefully you found it all right anyway, and I
Yeah.
appreciate your time. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed as well. For those of you that have watched, we'll share it about on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram anyway, and hopefully you'll learn a thing or two anyway. Just to remind people still watching, what's your 5K PB currently?
Officially or unofficially?
Well, unofficially, go for unofficially. 'Cause it's quite a big
14,
difference.
but obviously that needs to be repeated in the real racing world.
Yeah, but that's still mad. Even unofficially, that is crazy. But yeah, obviously incredible time, and a great runner as well. So thanks again, Nathan.
No, it's my
And
problem.
no worries, and I'm sure we'll talk soon as well. All
Yeah,
right.
no. See you later.